I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're taking a deep dive into a remarkable book, a wonderful book. It is called Choices by Sylvia Ramos-Paneque. It is a raw and honest memoir that navigates through a life of difficult decisions, from drug smuggling to a transformative journey of faith and redemption. This book is a remarkable tale of how even the most challenging paths can lead to growth, change, and a deeper understanding of God's grace. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her wonderful book. The links are below this interview. Sylvia, great to see you here today.
Wonderful to be here, Logan. Wonderful.
Great to have you. You know, the life of Jesus is a redemption story. You know, a man who is crucified, put through the mill, and then rises from the dead, quite literally in his case. So everybody has a comeback story in their life. And you have quite a comeback story, and that's what Choices is all about, right?
Truth. Yes. Yes, it is. From going from just a little poor little girl in the ghettos of White Center and navigating my way through that adventure when honestly there were many times I could have been harmed. And so I learned at a young age, you got to kind of take a look where you're going. And if you get caught in a little trap, own up to it and move on.
Yeah. Tell us where your life took a wrong turn. How old were you? What happened?
I think when my father left when I was about 12. Okay, so my mother and father, they had, 8 children together, and then my father and mother split up. And after my father left, because he was the one that made sure we walked the line, I kind of went just crazy. Mom had to go to work, and so I just let people come in. I was the oldest, so people could come in. I didn't do drugs really, but I had friends that did in the projects, and so there were a lot. I think that's where the beginning of the craziness started. And then I got married, got pregnant, got married, um, and that marriage didn't work out. And then I left my kids. I left my kids with my ex's family, and I took off. I was going to see the world, right? Oh yeah, oh yeah. God used to give me dreams though about when I lived in LA, about being in the fast lane, going down the freeway, and all of a sudden the traffic was stopped and I was getting ready to crash. So that was right before I went to South America to pick up the quote unquote drugs.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. Because to look at you today, nobody would ever think that you were at one time a would-be drug smuggler. So tell us about that aspect of your life.
Okay, so I was in LA and I was actually working in the jewelry business with an Israeli couple that had started a business down there, and they were amazing. I was living with an Israeli man named Avi, and it was his hookups. And they taught, the Israelis are hard workers. Oh my gosh. And when they trust and they let you in. I mean, I remember when they had to go to the airport to pick up diamonds, a whole thing of, and I was thinking, wow, these people are so trusting. And so I really wanted to work hard for them. But then my sister came to join me, and it was her boyfriend who had been, I guess, he was German. He had been doing this drug thing for a while. So they asked if we wanted to take a trip. They knew I loved to travel. If I wanted to go to Machu Picchu, because I had a girlfriend going down there to get married. She was from Peru. And so I thought, oh, yeah, sure. They'll pay for my trip and give me some cash. No problem. Ha. Very funny. Very funny. And I remember when we went to the airport in Peru, and Manfred made sure that, I don't want any pictures taken of me. I'm not going to be on the flight with you, blah, blah, blah. He was wearing his thinking cap. I wasn't. And so I remember was seeing the military machine guns, soldiers with machine guns at the airport. And I'm thinking, I'm carrying cocaine in my boots. And now I'm thinking, what was I thinking? This could be dangerous.
Exactly.
Hello, it was a little late to think that. So anyway, then so once we landed in Mexico, and they took my sister aside, and they found the cocaine on her, and they grabbed me too, because we had been talking. So yeah, that was. But you know what? That was such an education for me, because I thought I had it bad growing up in the poverty and
Right.
in Washington. But when I looked out the prison windows and saw the people living in cardboard shacks carrying
Yeah.
buckets to go get water, my heart broke.
Yeah.
I thought, oh my gosh. I thought, you're such a whiny little, I mean, hello, you have nothing to complain about living in the amazing country of America where we
Yeah.
do have choices.
Amazing. So when did your bad choices turn into good choices? What put you on the right path after that experience?
After that, after I got out of prison, I went and lived with my brother and his wife, and they're true believers, they're missionaries.
How long
And
were you in prison?
I was in prison in Mexico, not quite about 11 months. And then I went
Mhm.
on the prisoner exchange, went to the federal prison. And so I was in there for another, I don't know, maybe 8 months or so, and then
Mhm.
got released. And then I was on, probation.
Right.
Of course, then I decided, boy, I'm going to do it right. I'm forget all this other stuff, man. I got to get it together.
Right. So then you started, we're talking about what put you on the right path after
Yeah,
making some
living with
bad
my
choices.
brother, yeah, and my brother and his wife Joanne, Tony and Joanne, and they loved the Lord, and I started going to church with them and praying with them, and I mean, I always knew about Jesus. You can know about Jesus, but until you let him into your heart,
Mhm.
not much is going to change until you say, yeah, I really need to forgive myself and to let you forgive me and ask for you to lead me into a place where I can make better choices and I can be somebody's answer, not somebody's problem.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just had to own up. I had to just, the blame game didn't work for me anymore.
Right. Right. So moving in with your brother and his family and
Mm-hmm.
being introduced to their religious life was a
Yes.
game changer for you.
Yeah. Yes, it was. It really made me realize that you can say, okay, I'm a Christian. I know who Jesus is, or I think I know who Jesus is, but to hook yourself up with people that believe the same, that are forgiving and walking in truths, uh, and are humble. I mean, I can honestly say this about my Tony and Joanne. They are so humble. They
Mm.
are grateful for everything that God gives them, and they own up if they make a mistake. And so they were gracious with me. Again, I moved off and made some more bad choices, but eventually, thank you, the grace of God.
Yeah.
Every day, every day we wake up and we have choices to make, right, Logan? I mean,
Yeah.
we are we
Every
going to
day is
get
another opportunity to turn it all around, right? Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
and eat your humble pie and say, okay, let's start again. Let's do it again. And so then when I went into the bail bonds business, and I really didn't want to, I cried. I thought I already did my time.
Mm.
But you know what? I didn't. It wasn't until I really realized that there's multitudes of people that have family members that have made bad choices. And some family members will just totally give up on him, and the person's stuck there with nowhere but to face their choice. But other family members, sometimes they protect too much, and that can be tragic too. People have to own up to their choices.
Yeah.
All of us do.
Exactly. And also there are all different types of criminals. There are criminals that are
Yeah.
completely evil, and there are
Yes.
criminals who are young and foolish and a little wild and a little reckless. And on any given day from 17 to 30, somebody can
Mhm.
make a wild and reckless mistake, right? I mean, that's the way I look
Exactly.
at it. I mean, it's not like you were a hatchet murderer, you
Right. No,
were
they were having fun with their,
right,
you know.
exactly. Exactly. And that's the allure of that type of life.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't matter where you start out, it matters where you go. And you've turned it all
Exactly.
around. And
Exactly.
what was it like for you reliving the past, writing this book, and what do you hope people take away from it?
Well, I just hope that people understand there's an amazing God, an amazing Savior that loves us so much. And as long as we're breathing, there's an opportunity to lay it down and say, God, I really need help. You created me for a purpose. Show me that purpose. Why am I here? All of us have made mistakes. God can take our mistakes and show us how, okay, now you have mercy on that person that made that same type of mistake as you. Be gracious. Tell them about it's not over. You're still breathing. Ask him to forgive you. Forgive your dad, forgive your mom, forgive whoever it is you got to forgive. Let it go, because unforgiveness keeps us in prison.
Mm,
And it really does. You can be walking free, you can have $1 billion, but if you can't forgive, you've locked yourself in a prison with someone that is probably forgotten and gone away.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. If they care, they'd still be in your life and you wouldn't
Right.
be angry
Right.
at them. Who did you feel you needed to forgive in your life?
My father.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
leaving the family.
For leaving the family and, cheating on my mother and, being so. But you know what? My dad did the best that he could with what he had. And I had to just, I finally, I knew I'd forgiven him when it didn't hurt me inside anymore.
Right.
When it wasn't like, a punch in the gut when I would think about him. And I said, God, how many times do I have to forgive him? Well, in the good book, it says 70 times 7 in a day.
Mm,
So,
yeah,
so, you could forgive all day long and just keep doing it until it works.
absolutely. Well, we're glad you found forgiveness. We're glad that you were able to deepen your relationship with God, and that you were able to turn it all around after making some bad choices.
Yeah.
And that's the name of the book, Choices by Sylvia Ramos-Paneque. And it is a raw and honest memoir, as we mentioned before, that navigates through a life of difficult decisions, from drug smugglings, if you could believe it, and it's true, to a transformative journey of faith and redemption. Sylvia, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Okay, great. So thankful you had me on. Thank you, Logan.
Thankful to you for joining us and sharing your story and being honest. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.